one.
So that bet is out of the picture, it seems.
Yeah, well, that bet, somebody's 10K is safe.
Absolutely. And Louis Powell just gets to race at the front of the field once again. So I think... one car down under the 35 that was set to run through this grid. With a couple of others, I think we see Arnold Lambert, who wasn't out in race number 1 in the fine cars. He's out in that beautifully prepared white, orange and red.
Cars coming through the background, but we'll stay with them here as they make their way up the straight, the Tygerberg straight, towards turn 4. And you just pick up the red and yellow Sirocco there in the hands of Arnold Lambert.
And then someone we forgot about, sorry Justin Brown in an Austin Healey Sprite. We don't see those often, but when we do, I believe there was a green one that used to race here.
Yes.
With the likes of, who ran the Morgan? Here we go, race number 2 for the Lauda Classics and the Caltron Fine Cars. Trevor Momberg leads them away. The lights are on, the lights are off, and away we go for race. Middle of the field, is there a problem for the rotary?
That was, I think, the rotor that said no more, because he's slowing right down, and that... rotary motor that maybe one of those seals that's gone on the rotor, and if that's the case,
to give itself away, and he will just keep to the side. He'll pull off. But he's definitely dropping down the field by a huge margin. But just like this, yeah, that car is revving in its own, so maybe something wrong with the gears or the... to the front as they come to complete their first racing lap.
All right, here we go. It's Trevor Momberg. Right behind him is Louis Powell. Then it's Brian Evans, Wayne Rosser. He's right there as well. Michael Hitchcock will round off that lot. Here comes that big V8 Mustang. Then we've got Wayne Lotter. Just Ian Richards, followed there by Bruce Evan Taplin. That's just a few of them that is heading down.
But collected himself. He's got the likes of Trevor Hutchings and Fadi Mouton. There we see Lane doing incredibly in his father's Scirocco. But here, look at the front of this field. It's Escort versus Capri. And just like that, Mr. Louis Powell of the Bull Bar himself is leading out this Classics race.
When last has Louis Powell led a race? I don't want to jinx this one, but here comes Trevor Momberg at him once again. Remember, that Capri has got the legs, and he takes that lead away there from Louis. Louis fights back. Louis fights right back again, does Louis Powell, and Michael Hitchcock is right in there. Wayne Rosser is in that fight as well. Here comes Brian Evans. Brian Evans behind the four of them, heading towards us. And right there with them is the escort of Wayne Lotter.
Trevor Momberg, Wayne Ross is not that far behind.
Well, here we go as they make their way through the double right-hander. That is that little group that you see racing down towards turn number 5, towards Fostron. Louis Powell sits there ahead of Trevor Momberg, but the man that's in front is Michael Hitchcock. From Powell, from Momberg, from Rosser, from Brian Evans, behind. Kept honest there by the Capri of Trevor Momberg. Right there with him is Wayne Rosser, followed there by Brian Evans.
And look at this, a two-car battle at the front between Momberg and Louis Powell once again.
And Louis Powell is sitting, that's a fight for second and third. Remember that the Mustang sits out there in P1, so this is second and third. That's Powell and Momberg, but don't hassle about that because Rosser is in there as well. We'll see him come into screen now. There's Rosser, there's Brian.
with the way that they're fighting here on the grid. But now we...
Here comes second and third towards us. That's Louis Powell, Trevor Momberg coming through there. There's Brian.
Impressively in the fine cars. I believe she's third in class in that BMW E36. And then there we see Powell. There's Momberg. So that's second and third as they come through. There's one of the Skylines at the back end of the field. And then there...
Second to Hitchcock. Hitchcock is going to start his last lap pretty soon. As a matter of fact, he's already on his last lap. Then here comes Powell. Then we've got Malcolm Pfeiffer that's been lapped there by Trevor Momberg. Here comes... to the flag. Here comes Louis Powell. Behind him is Trevor Momberg. Behind Momberg is Sandra Becker. And she is in the fine cars. So here comes Powell. Here comes Momberg. Becker will finish her race in the fine cars. Then it's Brian.